So this is Nick Williams. Hi. In my quest for interesting people for you to meet and hear from, I'm here with somebody who isn't my brother, but is called John Williams. Hi John, how are you doing?
Hi Nick.
And John is the author of Screwwork Let's Play, which is just coming out July this year. July now.
Yeah, it's only been out a few weeks and it's a bestseller already, which I'm delighted
Congratulations. It just shows how much interest there is in
Yeah.
different ways of working, and the subtitle is How to Do What You Love and Get Paid for It. So we're going to have a couple of conversations. This is the first one. So really, John, I suppose, open question to start with, but why did you write the book?
Why did I write the book? It's basically everything I've ever learned throughout my long and very strange and varied career of being an employee and then being a contractor and a consultant and a freelancer. And I've done everything and running my own business. And when I became a careers and business coach, I noticed that the same mistaken beliefs were coming up, what I call the myths of work, came up again and again and again. And unless you unpick those, you are doomed to not get paid to do something you love. And so there's 21 of them throughout the book, and that it felt like, if nothing else, if I just unpick those myths and then tell people all the practical stuff you need to know about how to get paid to do what you love, then it will change everyone's opinion of about work, who reads it.
Brilliant. Because I think there are two levels. I've certainly noticed this in my work. There is the practical level of what to do, but I'm glad to hear you say it in a way in which we hold such deeply ingrained beliefs, don't we, about what's a proper job, what's work, what can you get paid for, what's not a proper job that you can never get paid for. Most of us, it's like they're so close to our thinking, we don't even see them as beliefs. They're just like, this is how life is. So you're kind of picking those out for people to see clearly and go, this is just a belief, it's not the truth. Yeah,
I mean, there's simple myths like I couldn't get paid to do what I love. And there's a lot of it comes from what I call employee thinking. So people, when you're in a job, and I was like this anyway when I was in a job, you tend to think, well, what can I do? What will my boss allow me to get away with? Can I possibly ask to move my job slightly and do this thing? And even when you go self-employed, I mean, people watching this, if you're already self-employed, you might still have the remains that it took me years to shake it off. Where you think, well, is that possible? Can I do that? And we were just talking earlier about who you work with, and this idea that as a self-employed person, you should only work with people you like. Is when I first, even though I've been self-employed for a couple of years, that was still, what? Yeah. I have to work with whoever gives me the money, sure.
Yeah, and whoever happens to be employed by the company that I work for. I don't have any choice about who my colleagues are. And I'm kind of relieved to hear you say that as well, because I've been self-employed for 20 years now. And I joke in my workshops and say I feel like I'm still on a lifelong recovery program from employee thinking, because it just goes so deeply. So there's how to be entrepreneurial, there's how to give up being an employee, and then there's a whole universe of thinking like an entrepreneur, presumably, as well. Yeah,
and I think I got a lot of that from you, because we had some, I was lucky enough to have some coaching from you a while ago, and those ideas about the first thing you've got to do is inspire people, and the sort of stages we go through. And for me, it felt like turning a tanker around. It's taken me 10 years to fully get it, and I still have to be reminded. I'm writing this because I know it works, and sometimes I still forget bits.
Sure.
And luckily my friends, the kind of people who go, "You're doing this." Page 81.
Yeah. When I got my first book back from the publisher, I don't know if you feel like this, but I read it and I thought, I'm going to be living this for the rest of my life. This is going to be my manual.
If I read this book, I know it and I do live it and I work it, but if I read the book again and was reminded all those things again, I'd still get a benefit.
Brilliant. So, can you share a couple of the myths, just for starters? What's the major myths, do you think?
I think
people trip themselves up?
The biggest one is, and a few people have just started talking about this year, this idea that work has to be something you don't enjoy. It's so deeply ingrained, and the reason why is because the previous generation, like my mother's generation, didn't have much choice about work. They could only tolerate the kind of sometimes very miserable work they were doing if they told themselves there was another choice, and often there was. Particularly for women, for certain sectors of society, but for everyone there was a lot less choice. And so one of the myths is that work can't be something you enjoy. That's the fundamental thing. And I talk about a play revolution, because a lot of people have not noticed what's happened. And what's happened is We all know jobs as the default position of what you do for a living. We all know you can start a business and go get funding and turn up on Dragon's Den and eventually you kind of vacuum cleaner, which is incredibly risky. And then what people don't realise is that this area in between, the third way, is enormous now. The reason why is because of the internet and social media. There's so many ways, as you've demonstrated, Nick, with Inspired Entrepreneur, to make a living, sometimes without even turning up. And I've interviewed people who do that. They travel around the world and they get paid for it. And so we've all heard the internet's changing everything. But have you realised quite what it enables you to do? Did you know you can start a radio station in an afternoon for free? Did you know you can upload your manuscript today and print a copy of your book without anyone's permission? Did you know you can start a TV channel for free and have a 2-camera shoot and have it watched live on the internet by the end of today?
Well, is all that information in here?
Yeah.
Great. So, Screw Work, Let's Play. John Williams' great new book. So you're giving a talk for us. We're going to talk more in a minute about that. But thank you very much for taking the time to talk about this. We're going to have another couple of conversations, but we're going to bring this one to a finish right now. Thank you very much indeed, John.
Thanks.
Cheers. Hope you've enjoyed watching this.